Welcome to the Champion School of Real Estate monthly superstar interview. I'm Rita Santamaria. I'm the owner and founder of Champion School of Real Estate. And I have to tell you how much I look forward to these monthly interviews, because these are all of our wonderful champions that have gone through the school that I get to visit with, compliment, basically pick their brain for you so that all the information that they give you will absolutely help with your own career. And I know today we have people that are brand new getting their license. We have some continuing ed people. We definitely have some of our prepsters that are getting ready to take their national or state exam, be it real estate loan, appraisal, inspection. Those of you that saw any of our PowerPoint right before we started, without question, you can do it. We can help. And way back when I started the school in the 80s, that was just something that came to mind. You can do it. We can help. And with all the help we want to give you at Champion School of Real Estate, with our teachers, with our textbooks, with our wonderful campuses, with our live broadcasts, with our online, and then with awesome people that come in and say, hey, I am ready, willing, and able to help new people by giving them just a taste of what they did in order to get started in their business. And before I give them a formal introduction, I always want to say thank you, thank you, thank you for your business. Because without your business, we don't have one. And aside from that, with COVID and sheltering at home, you have made our online and our live broadcast come alive so that we are able to continue having business during this particular time period. Our campuses are open all over the state. But we do have social distancing. You do wear a mask. And those seats fill up pretty quickly. So if you plan to be in the classroom, be sure and register as quickly as possible. Well, today I am so happy to be able to introduce Nicole Piccola. Nicole is with Compass Realty. And as you can see, she has an amazing smile. And I told both of them when we sort of got to know each other a couple of days ago, their smiles are just infectious and just beautiful. And we have Will Wright, and Will is with Indwell Real Estate in the Fort Worth area, and also Avocet Ventures. So he's going to tell us a little bit about that when we get started. But Nicole is in the Dallas area, and Will in the Fort Worth area. I always want to get 2 different regions in Texas represented. Let me just say to our students that are watching on Facebook, as well as our students in the classroom and on live broadcast, be ready with your writing tools, whether it's your iPad, your laptop, pen and pencil, because these 2 are going to give you some wonderful information. I know for a fact that you're going to want to hear more. So tomorrow, go to YouTube, to the Champion School of Real Estate location on YouTube, and you'll be able to see this interview again. And I know I always go there because I love watching to see how we did, and I love hearing all the great things that these 2 tell us about their careers in real estate. So good morning, Nicole. Good morning, Will. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing wonderful. Thank you for asking. How are you?
I'm wonderful. I am doing great and love seeing your faces. And how are you today, Will?
I'm good. I feel left out. I didn't include flowers in my background. Y'all both have such pretty bouquets.
Well, I have to say, these are from Bosses Week last Friday,
Mm.
or Bosses Day, I guess. And I just had to put them out there just because they're so beautiful. Thank you for noticing. And while we're noticing, gosh, I want to say, what is that cute little paper that's attached to a magnet on your wall right there?
I
That's
can't,
uh
You
that's from
can't
my
hear?
7-year-old. She drew me a little picture and wanted me to include it in my office.
mhm.
So it's
How
a reminder of
sweet.
her.
So let's just start with you, Nicole.
Okay.
Um, and what I'm going to start out with is going to be, I think, really motivational, inspiring information for new people. You started your real estate career at 19 years of age.
Yes, ma'am.
Tell us what gave you that entrepreneurial spirit that made you want to be your own boss at 19, right after high school?
Well, it didn't take much because I am very independent, I feel, and this business embodies independence. And you have to be able to kind of self discipline. And I've just never been like to be bossed around. So I like to be my own boss.
That
I
is
don't
a
know.
super answer. So you became your own boss because you didn't want to be bossed around. People are right now sitting in their chair or sitting at home at the kitchen table watching and had a great laugh out of that, thinking, hey, I don't want to be bossed around either.
No, that's true. But you also have to be very self disciplined. So that's something that's important to note. While I don't want to be bossed around, I have to boss myself. I have to say, no, you slacked yesterday. It's time to get with it today. Or you have to pick up the slack where you missed out maybe on the day before or maybe the week before.
Well, how very nervous you must have felt graduating from high school and then starting into real estate. We have another one that's in our first book, Adam Olson, and he's out of Huntsville. Adam did the same thing and graduated from high school, said, I want to go into real estate. And he is a super success, just as you are. And I know that you've been in it for 12 years. And the topic this morning that we're going to get into is brand new and ready to make money. I know neither you nor Will are brand new, but I know that you know how you got started and you're going to share those words of wisdom with each of us. So, Will, what motivated you to be your own boss and to jump into real estate?
For me, it was the same as Nicole. I saw an opportunity and really um, the draw for me was no ceiling. So if there's money to be made, I can go make it. And we talk to our girls now already about I don't have to sit around and ask for a raise. If I want to make more, do more, I can just go do it myself. I don't have to wait for anybody else. So for me, it was a big draw and the opportunity to create the lifestyle and freedom, flexibility, um, in the midst of that. So
You know, we say that all the time that there's no cap on your income. And often people go, oh, you're just saying that because, it's a great little thing to say and about being your own boss and being an independent contractor. But oh my goodness, at the end of the year, you get to look at yourself in the mirror and say, hey, I did it. I did it. There was no cap on my income. I made as much money as I wanted to make. And then I literally tell people in my book, 30 Days to Success, go ahead and give yourself a little pat on the shoulder while you're looking in the mirror
mhm.
because you did it. You were the success that you wanted to be. Now, I have another question. for both of you. And I'm going to ask Nicole because she just most recently got her broker's license. And I know Randy Smith, our instructor in Dallas, said, you need to interview Nicole because she is so focused, didn't have college hours to help her out. And she just decided, I want that broker's license. Nicole, why did you decide to get your broker's license? And just tell the group how you made it happen.
So getting into this business at 19, it was always a struggle with age and experience and life experience. So I just felt like I had always kind of had to battle that. So after a few years, I'd been in the business and I was doing pretty well. I had asked a couple of people about getting my broker's license. They told me I couldn't do it because I didn't have a college degree. Because as like we said earlier, I jumped into it at 19. So no college, just feet first, diving on in. So then I just kept going. I did my own research instead of just depending on opinions of others, and realized that, hey, I could do this. I had kids, I got married, had babies. So that kind of, it put it on the back burner for a little while. And then in 2017, I think, 2018, I decided, you know what, I'm just going to do it. I applied with Trek, and then I realized I had 512 hours to take. And once you apply, you only have a year to get licensed, or those you have to start the application process all over again. So I talked to my husband, talked to my family, like, hey, we're going to do this. Like, I need your support and your help. And I really just wanted that elevated title because, again, I've always been battling the age and experience thing. I mean, I'm 32 now, so I don't really worry about that as much today. But I really just wanted that elevated title. And hey, if I decided to go out on my own, I can do that too. Again, not having the boss of me. I can be my own boss even more so now than I could, 2 years ago.
So I think it took you 11 months to get your broker's license.
Yeah.
And during that 11 months, you were still working left and right as a real estate agent.
Yeah.
And most definitely you have children at home. So we know that's a possibility. You can do whatever you put your mind to. And you were doing schooling, 500 hours, plus being a mom, plus working. It's called being Superwoman. And congratulations for doing that, succeeding with that. Will, what was your motivating reason for being the broker of record for Indwell Real Estate? Indwell, rather.
Thanks for asking. I got in the business in 2012, directly at my 4-year mark. It was already a decision that I was going for. And the company I was working with at the time, representing them as a buyer agent, an investment company, said, hey, let's start a brokerage. So my path to brokerage was always there. Me being broker of record at the age of, I think, 32 was not a plan. But I had enough smart people around me that helped me, and we call it our circle of excellence. I had good, smart people walk me through the process and hold my hand, and good relationships in the industry to say, hey, yes, you can do this. It is possible, and we'll help you. And so for me, it's opened a lot of different doors. And just like Nicole said, um, people outside of the industry know and understand what the word broker means. And it is important. And for me, it's opened a lot of possibilities and opened a lot of doors. So we call it placing a bet. I made a bet that if I got my broker's license, it could open possibilities in the future. And so I would recommend it highly. And it has. The bet paid off.
You know, we always say the only designation the general public recognizes is broker. And when you still work for your company, of course, with a broker's license, you can open your own business, but most everybody, other than obviously you will, because you did it to open your own company, but many agents are highly recommended by their broker to get their broker's license because it just adds credibility. They stay with Indwell, but next to their name, it says broker associate. so that they have that credibility that Nicole also wanted to have. And Nicole also has her accredited buyer rep, her luxury home specialist designation, her new home certification, her RENE. And I'm just saying that because those designations, and I know, Will, you do as well. You told me even when my husband, Henry, who's in commercial real estate, was in Fort Worth a couple of years back, he loved teaching the RENE negotiation course. And when you told me about that, I did go home and tell him, and he's watching today. So thank you for reminding him that he did pretty well with a student named Will Wright. But we have all those designations that are really for the agent in order to give them more self-confidence. So thank you for both of you getting your broker's license and getting your designations at Champion School of Real Estate. So we've got a bunch of new people watching today. I mean, total, we're going to have over 1,000 people that are watching you right now. And then on YouTube, of course, we'll get more. Can each of you think of just a couple of activities you did as a brand new agent that helped you get started? And Will, let's start with you.
Yeah, great question. I started with Keller Williams, which is a great organization. It was a great opportunity for me, and they were big proponents of affirmations. And I personally still am. I am with my daughters as well. But I wrote 2 things on the back of my door that I had to look at every day that I went to work. And number 1 was, I'm the negotiation expert. And I read that every single day, and I took Mr.
Wow.
Henry's class until I started believing it. And it radically changed the way that I do business. And the second thing I wrote was, I am the market expert. There are a lot of people that have been in this business 30 years, 40 years, but nobody can watch the market like I can or you can in real time every day and know statistics. Average days on market, active properties, sold under contract properties, average price per square foot, and average list to sales price. If you know those 5 things about every neighborhood that you farm, you are the expert and you are a step ahead of everybody else in the business. So those are my 2 things that really radically launched me up into the next level, was reading those every day until I started believing them.
Those are awesome. And I just want to mention to our agents that are watching, affirmations literally being, I am, I am, I am. And those are 2 great things to tell yourself, because being positive with everything you do every day, we know works for sure. So, Nicole, do you have a couple of suggestions for new people?
What I did, I started out with a boutique brokerage in Deep Ellum. And what I remember all those years ago was just really partnering with a senior agent that had been in the business a little bit longer than me, obviously. And I just tagged along everywhere that she went. I was right there with her. And then also watching her and more observing the relationships that she cultivated over that time. So we might not have known anybody that was there that we were showing. Again, I started in locating. So we didn't know these people, but then at the end of the day, we did know them, and we knew their kids, or we knew their wives or their girlfriends or their boyfriend. And I think cultivating relationships for me is the most important thing, because those are where you get your referrals, and that's where your business continues to grow. So as long as you focus on that circle first, and then also get a mentor. I feel like that's number 1. Have somebody that can hold you accountable and to help you grow, and to also show you the ropes, because I feel like that's number 1 whenever you're getting started.
Excellent. I see Will was giving us a thumbs up on mentorship. Will, do you want to say a little bit more about mentorship or coaching or training?
Absolutely. I joined a mastermind group of 4 other agents. I was the youngest, the junior by far. and I had to pay my dues. I opened a lot of doors for them when they were on vacation. I took calls for them. I put signs up, anything I could do to add value for the experience I was gleaning from the group. So I highly, highly, highly stand behind that statement, Nicole.
So mentoring, meaning go to your manager, ask them if there is a full-time experienced agent that you can just help. Certainly you're watching, you're listening, but if you offer your help, then they're going to also show you the ropes. And many companies have a full operational mentorship. We always tell our new students, be sure and ask when you interview with at least 3 companies, but be sure and ask them about their training program. And certainly use the word coaching, use the word mentorship. Do either one of you still have your own coach or an outside coach? Either one of you, Will or Nicole?
I meet with my office manager twice a month just for accountability, and he makes sure he always one does the affirmations. He tells me that I'm doing great, if and then I am, of course, but also just for the accountability part, and I think that's essential.
And what about you, Will?
I had a corporate coach for 3 years, and he was pushing 80. He had made his money in the industry. He had much more wisdom than I did. And it was less about production, and it was more about getting out of my own way. I had a lot of self-limiting beliefs. I come from a wonderful family of successful people, but nobody ever told me I could do whatever I want, start whatever I want, be as big or as small or as whatever as I ever wanted. And so I needed that coaching to get me just the opportunity to crack that door open and say, I can do it. There are bigger opportunities there that are for the taking, and I'm capable of grabbing them.
I think that mantra, if it's to be, it's up to me, is so very important when you are an entrepreneur, as all of you now, once you're licensed, and if you are licensed, you are your own company, you are an entrepreneur. And just having someone that you can just literally discuss things with, get feedback from. We call them mentor, we call them a coach, we call them your manager, trainer. And that's why for our new people, we have an SAE course called Powerhouse Training that does the same idea. It's to help you remember how to make money. And that being said, what about doing open houses in today's market with the pandemic? How do you all, are you doing open houses? How do you feel about that with the pandemic? Nicole, can you jump in on that one?
Yes, I started with open houses a lot. When I was 20, I met with a builder, and this is 10, 12 years ago. I met with a builder, and he had me doing open houses every week, both days, because that's what new builders, require.
Sure.
And I'll tell you, if I'm being brutally honest, I don't like the idea of them. I don't love them, but they are really a great lead generation. I'll tell you, the most recent one I did, I had a listing out in Frisco. It's $1 million listing. And I got a $3 million buyer from that open house. So if that motivates you to, even though it's something that you don't necessarily love to do, or, we all have those little things that aren't our favorite whenever we're in our business. But I mean, that's where business blossoms. And I think, even out of your comfort zone, get out there and do that open house, or do, your letters or your phone calls, and it will pay off.
And what are your thoughts on that, Will?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of open houses. And for me, I had to learn to play to my strengths. I had a buyer walk in early in my business and say, listen, on the phone, you are a bear to deal with. It's apparent that you don't like being on the phone. And now that I'm standing here face to face with you and spent the day with you, you're such a pleasant person. And so I had to realize like my strength is face to face. And if I'm going to leverage that, then I have to do open houses to meet new people, because phone calls don't work for me. I still don't like being on the phone, but I'm all about face to face. So for me, it was a numbers game. When I started in this business, we had a new child at home. And so if nobody showed up, I enjoyed the quiet and silence of just being in a house by myself. But to date, I'm 1 for 4. Every 4 open houses I've done, I've got a successful buy off of it. So, and then a big shift happened later in my career where I quit doing open houses to farm for buyers. But there's a shift that occurred, whereas I was doing open houses to show the neighbors I'm real, I'm legitimate, I'm doing more than putting a sign in the yard. So it was a big shift that happened in my career of saying, I'm not just going to wait for somebody to walk in. I'm going to throw a huge party, and I'm going to let the neighbors know that I'm serious about selling this house.
Smart, smart. We talk about that in Powerhouse and in 30 Days to Success, that if you're going to spend the time there to do an open house, please prepare for it. And we talk about how to prepare for it. And what you just mentioned, Will, is certainly what we need to do. Let friends, neighbors, everyone know that you're going to be there. Make sure that people have good information on the address of where your open houses are. I think it has been so interesting that in the last just 4 years, open houses are so huge again.
Yes.
And we have apps where buyers can see all the open houses in an area in Frisco, Texas, or Fort Worth for the particular weekend. I was doing a panel last summer, actually, and it was a Gen Y panel. And one of our champion superstars from Katy said from the day she got her license, she does open houses every Saturday, every Sunday afternoon. And obviously it worked because she was on the superstar panel and she'd been in the business for 4 years. So for new people, there are a lot of things you can do that don't cost money. They cost your time in order to move you to what we call marketing yourself. So what types of marketing works best for you, Will, and your company?
Thanks for asking. I wanted to speak to the open house thing as well. During the pandemic, we've encouraged our agents to pick every active listing in their neighborhood or in their farm area and do a video at least once a week of you walking through the house, holding your phone, get a gimbal. They're not that expensive. And just say, I am the market expert in Tanglewood, and I'm looking at 123 Main Street today, and they all follow along with me. And so because we have access to any house that's active, we should be driving that content to people saying, you might not feel comfortable walking in, but I'm the market expert. I'm here, and I'll do it for you until you're ready. And so that's been a big shift for us as we're pushing all of our agents to post more content, but much like this video, be active every day in people's stories. I'm not a huge fan of video. I had to just embrace it. And my goal is to be live on Instagram stories and Facebook stories every single day. And it surprised the amount of conversations that happen with people outside of the industry, and or clients say, hey, I saw your video about such and such. I'm interested in such and such. And so it's been our big push is get digital, get active in video. I don't care if you don't like it. Nobody does, but it matters.
Well, you also mentioned that people see you face to face. They hear your voice, but they see your face and it works better for you. Mm-hmm. So the idea of video, we know that helps, that works. I love it when I see our agents posting on Facebook, they just sold a house, because they are indirectly telling all their other customers or potential customers, I actually am doing business. I'm getting it done. Mm-hmm. So video, whether however you post it out there. And as you said, this interview, we want you to put on your website as well. But videos work in today's world, and social media works in today's world. What other marketing tips do you use, Will?
That's
For
going to
your
be the
company,
biggest
what
one.
works well for you?
Yeah. So the other thing that we push really hard is just like a language of sale idea of like, I'm your house guy. You've got one guy that fixes every single piece of your car, bumper to bumper. And you're going to call your mechanic if your car breaks, and I'm your house guy. So it's
Okay.
training your clients and your network to say, I don't care if you have a broken sprinkler head, you need your house repainted, or you want to sell grandma's house because she's passed away. I am the one and only house guy that you know. You call me for anything. And if I don't have a good plumber, I want to own that call, and I'm going to go find a good plumber for you.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just coaching our
Excellent.
agents to be the
Yeah.
one call. I'm the house person. When you sign up with me, you sign up with an agent for life. And if at any point during this transaction you're unhappy, tell me, because I don't want to do one transaction with you. I want to be your house guy.
Mm-hmm.
What you're actually telling me is you are huge on customer service. Huge. So tell us, Nicole, about your marketing and what works for you. If you have a niche.
I do a lot of social media. I feel like that's where we all are on all day long, no matter where we are in the world. People are on their phones, on their social media. I like to be very engaging. I include, things about my personal life too. I have people, I do videos as well, although I am like you, Will, I'm very uncomfortable doing them a lot of the time. But whenever you take people along on your journey, this is what I'm touring today, this is who I'm with, or I'm watching my kids play soccer, or you know what, me and my kids or my husband, we're demoing a house today, or we're cleaning up this, or we're picking out tile, or I think just staying engaged with people in that way. And again, I reiterate what Will said, you are the house go-to person. People call me all the time, and they may not have even been my clients, but they know this is what I do. And so they'll reach out. I have neighbors that I haven't necessarily done business with, but I'm like, hey, let's go see a house that's in the neighborhood, and they want to come too. They live in here, and they're not my neighbor, but it's a new house in the market. Let's go look at it together. So, we do that. And I think that's so fun. And I think just being, like Will says, you are their go-to real estate person, whether they're buying or selling. That isn't always the case. Maybe they, like you said, they need a plumber, they had a leak, they want somebody to paint the interior or the exterior, a landscaper, or a mowing. I just want to be that call. And so you got to put yourself out there enough to become their go-to person for everything that encompasses with real estate.
I love it, because you're really talking about the reason why someone would want you to be their realtor for life, because you are the go-to person. And there are a lot of agents that would not give that person after the sale that much of their attention. But when you do what both of you are doing, wow, you get referrals, I'm sure, all day long. So starting out early in the business, thinking back a few years back, how long did it take you to really start getting a lot of referrals, or referral only? I know we do all kinds of activities to get our career jump started, but our goal and hope is the phone rings, we get an email, we get a text. Oh, Will, Nicole, I have a friend, can you help them? Tell our students about how long that takes. Nicole, do you recall how long that took before you got referrals?
I think the majority of my business has always been referrals. I don't necessarily bug people about their referral, but I'm like, hey, this is what I do. Please think of me whenever you think of anything house related. When I was 19, we did a lot of online advertisements. This is before Facebook advertising was really a big thing. But I really think referrals started to kick in probably in 2012 12 for me whenever I got married and started really focusing on building my family. And then I realized something just kind of clicked in my head where, oh my gosh, this is so important. I have to work my sphere of influence. And I think that is the most important marketing you can do, is the people that you know directly, and ask for their business and their referrals.
And what about you, Will? When did referrals start coming in for you?
That's a great question. We have really built our business and our brokerage on relationships, and I'm going to be dead honest. It's tough. It takes a long time. I don't think I had a closing for 90 days after I got my license. And now, 8 years removed from that, it creates a depth and loyalty in your customer base that's unmatched and necessary. I don't have a recruiter for our brokerage, and we're the largest independent brokerage in Fort Worth now. And it's
Wow.
solely built on relationships. It's because people call me because they're happy with the service they get. It is a long game. It does take longer, but it's way more fun to get a happy call from a friend than to get a, hey, can you show me this property right now, from a stranger.
Yeah.
And so my finance guy said, listen, if you can hang on for 3 years, this will be a successful business for you. And I hate to deliver that news to new agents out there. You can make a living in year 2. You can make a career in year 3. Year 1, just get educated.
I love it. I absolutely love it, because we do pride ourselves on saying you're not going to be a superstar right away. If you were changing careers, generally you would go to college for 4 years minimum, and or you would be involved as a tradesman watching someone for quite a few years before you basically became your own company. So don't give up. Don't get down on yourself. And we do say, gosh, the first 2 years, you're going to be able to take care of bills. But after 2 years, your career then just doubles from what you did the first 2 years. And then, as you said, 3rd year, okay, you're in business. So don't be down on yourself. Allow that growth of your company to take place, that growth of you in your new career, by doing what you said, Will, and that's education. Nicole, do you have any thoughts on that as well?
Oh, I'm big on education.
How long it might take you to get involved as far as being full-time, operational, or let me put it a different direction. Do you recall a defining moment where you realized you were in business and you didn't have to worry as much? Do you have that in mind?
Yes. So again, being 19, I was doing a lot of apartment locating. And again, that was during a recession as well. So when I realized, probably year 2 or 3 as well, but year 4, and that's when I was saying 2012. So that might be that's year 4, is when I started getting those repeats business. So those people that were in apartments, hopefully I stayed in contact with them, because again, that's so important, is to stay active in their lives. Those people were calling me to now buy a home, or those things are just. And I think year 4, again, that's when I knew that I was okay. Those first years, again, during a recession as well, those were a struggle. I struggled a lot. I was at home. Again, thank goodness I was young enough and I stayed home. And then when I met my husband, he was still, taking care of us and our family. But those first years are a struggle sometimes. But you just got to keep going and never give up. And that's how I was raised. And so I was just in it and grinding as hard as I could.
I almost feel guilty sometimes, because here we are in a pandemic, and yet our industry is so busy. We are so fortunate. I mean, recognizing probably one of the best years for real estate in general happening during the pandemic, because as Dr. Gaines with Texas A&M University said, people are at home. They're looking around at their house. They're thinking, why didn't we sell this house 2 years ago? Let's get a bigger home, or maybe let's get a home with a bigger yard. And so real estate agents have actually done very, very, very well. And lenders have done very, very, very well, which means inspectors have done well, appraisers have done well. Our industry has been so fortunate during this time period. And we're so fortunate because people are saying, while I'm at home, maybe I'll just go ahead and take my continuing ed. Maybe I will get a designation. I'll just go ahead and get my broker's license. So it's been very interesting for us during this pandemic. I want you both to know we are getting a gazillion chat questions for both of you. I'm watching it like zing, zing. And of course, we don't have time to hit them. I'm glancing at some of them as they come in. But we will answer all of your chat questions at the end of the interview. If it's something we can't answer and you don't see on YouTube tomorrow, I'll send that message over to Will or Nicole. So thank you, students, for all those chat questions. I want to ask, with both of you having families, both of you having great business, how many hours a week do you work? And do you ever take time off? Nicole, how many hours do you work approximately?
Oh my goodness. I wish I'd done the math before we had this interview. I mean, I work from the time I wake up to the time I go to bed, honestly. And of course, it's not back to back to back. My most important thing is I'm there to pick up my kids from school. So I'm there every day. I pick them up from school, and I'm sorry that time is blocked. So it's very important to block your time off, what's important to you and what you're going to make work in this business, because people will call you all day long. And they will, again, however long you allow them to talk to you, they will. So I'm getting messages at 10 p.m. sometimes. And sometimes that's okay. And a lot of times it's not. So you really have to prioritize your time. I do take time off. I make sure I'm at my kids' activities for the most part. I don't like to miss them. My kids are still very young, so that's very important to them, is to have me there. So they're 6 and 7 and 12. And so I really try to prioritize anything that they're doing. I want to make sure that I'm there. I don't take a ton of vacations, but I'm at every soccer game.
Good for you. Good for you. It's so important to have that balance between personal life and business life in order to be a whole person.
Yes.
And obviously you have your priorities and you stick to them.
Yes.
Will, what about you and your family and business life? How many hours do you work? Do you take time off? Give us a little insight into Will.
Yeah, thanks for asking. So for me, it's not time off, first time on. For me, it's 24/7 on call. And so the communication that I have with my spouse, significant other, and my kids is, we have a roof over our head. We've been given lots of great opportunities, and it's up to me to be home at dinner every night at 5:30. And it's something that I stick to and communicate to my clients and say, listen, 5:30 to 7:30 is my family time. If you need me, text me, but the sky better be falling. And if I need to hop back on a call after that, then I will. But I also communicate, if I get a text at 8 p.m., I say, is this important? Does this need to be taken care of tonight? And let the other person make that mental jump. Am I freaking out about this, or can this be taken care of in the morning? So for me, much like Nicole, 5:30 to 7:30 is my time. It's my family's time. That all being said, I was on a call last night during dinner while the deal was falling apart. And my 7-year-old was like, ugh, why do you have to be on your phone? And I'm like, listen, I love you. This is important to me to be present at dinner. And occasionally, I'm going to have to do this. And it's just, I can be at school to pick you up most of the time because I'm going to have to take a call during dinner.
Yep.
I
And so
love it.
communicating with my clients, my expectations, my family's expectations, and then back to my significant other and kids. Here's the trade-off. Here's what you're going to experience. Talk to me about it. You know, don't pretend like it's an elephant in the room.
So, Will, was there a defining moment for you when you realized, I've got a good business and I feel like everything's going to be okay?
That's such a great question. I feel like it happens weekly. Um,
Yeah.
Nicole, you mentioned you're 32, and I'm like, I'm 37. I still feel like a child. I feel like I feel like we get to have an insane seat at the table, that our input people ask about and that it matters, and they take it seriously. And so, there's a lot of people that do what we do, Nicole, that are in their 50s and 60s. That we get to play ball with. And this is a great example, Miss Santamaria, just the opportunity to say, hey, where are y'all at? And so I would say there's been those that happen regularly, and it will keep happening. And you will keep finding surprises in little ways of like, oh, this is serious. Like what I'm doing matters and people are watching. And it's still shocking 8 years in.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I told you, call me Rita.
Sorry, Rita.
Everybody calls me Rita. You are so sweet. That is so kind. So let me just ask, what advice would you give to some of our CE people that are watching today that are maybe middle of the road income, and they would like to possibly raise their income level a little higher? Are there any activities that come to mind that you feel and you have found have just really helped to keep your business going forward, rocking and rolling? And if so, what would you share with those middle of the road producers? Nicole?
I would say go find a listing agent that has a luxury listing and do that open house for them. One, they're probably busy as well, and so they would love for you to get in there and do an open house for them, because that again is where you're going to find some really great leads sometimes. And again, if they're coming into that open house that maybe above what your average is, chances are that is where they are, and that way you will find a buyer in the next price range up. So I think that's really, really important. Again, open houses have never been my favorite, but I do them, and I do know that they produce great lead activity. So again, get in there and do those open houses in the next price range that you'd really like to be in, or at least to increase your average.
Well, any suggestions?
Yeah, so I agree with Nicole. Get out there, get in front of people. Here in our office, we call them placing bets. Have 6 marketing arms at any time. Track them for 6 months and do them religiously without fail, day in and day out. And then at the end of that 6 months, decide what worked, what didn't work, what was a colossal waste of my time. I get tripped up on, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. Decide what those 6 bets are for that time period and lean into them. So one of my biggest ones is, I forget the name of the book. It's like a year of thank yous, but it's trying to write 5 thank you letters a week, handwritten, mail them out, mail them to different people. And it's that simple touch that the next time you run into that person face to face, they're going to have an instant different approach. They're going to have an instant different feel from you because you reached out and you cared. You took the extra step to make it personal. And I ran into somebody in College Station on a road trip last month who was an old mentor of mine. He probably didn't remember me at all. And I came over, I introduced myself, and I just said, thank you for guiding me in the past. And I showed up to work on Monday, and he had found me online. This guy is like 88 years old. He had found me online and mailed a handwritten note to me to say thank you for coming by his table. And in my head, I'm like, it just meant the world to me because I thought it was a chance meeting and a one-time conversation. And it was that extra touch of like, man, that guy took time to find me and to tell me he appreciates me. And it meant the world to me. And I want to give that to our industry and to our clients.
Wow. It just says volumes for how you feel about people and how you appreciate things. And I saw Nicole shaking her head yes to the handwritten notes. Did you want to add to that, Nicole?
I love handwritten notes, and that's something that I really do incorporate into my business a lot. I did a little bit of slacking during the pandemic, but I also love to send out birthday cards. People love that. They love to feel special on their birthday, like we all do. And so just a little happy birthday card for like it takes, I don't know, 2 minutes to write it in a happy birthday card, but to mail that out and for somebody to receive, people love that old-fashioned mail. It's not always about sending a text or the little confetti balloon text that you can send. Write a handwritten note. It's personal and people love it. You would love it. So if you would love it, yeah, go ahead, Will.
There's also a company online that'll do it for you. You upload a picture and they send like a little box with treats in it. But I found if I go do something with a friend and I snap one picture, I'll print the picture, send it in the letter. Hey, what a great weekend. I can't wait till we get to do this again.
How cute.
And it's those little touches, like you said, but the birthday is a great one. Guys, I don't know about women, but guys are never, ever, ever get to hear you deserve to be celebrated today.
Mm-hmm.
And it means a lot to people.
Yeah, it does.
You know, what I love that both of you are stating to so many of our viewers today, our students and customers, is you don't have to have a truckload of money to start out and do the right thing and build your career. Anyone can get birthday cards and get your center of influence or just people that know you, get their names, their addresses, their emails all lined up. And you can find a reason to send 5 handwritten notes out a day. You can find a reason. And you mentioned something else, Will, that I hope everybody picked up on. And that is, in today's world, we take a gazillion pictures with our phones, but do we ever go and print them out? And to be able to have that memento and slip it into a card, it costs what? 39 cents at CVS or Walgreens to print out a picture, and you're in business. So let me ask you this as we start to wind down just a little bit. What is it that you love about real estate, Nicole?
Oh my gosh, the list is endless here. But my favorite part would have to be the relationships that I build with people. I honestly, I tell clients all the time that they might not be my personal friend in the beginning, but I like to say that, hey, look, you have your family and your friends, but we're the family that you choose. Those are by blood, your family's by blood, but you're me as your realtor, I'm the family that you choose. And now you're stuck with me. And so I usually love my people at the end. And I'm like, I miss you. I miss hearing from you every day or having to, do my calls every day with them. But, I just love the people. I love the relationships. And I do love the homes and all of those beautiful things that we get to see every day. But I love my people.
Wow. Definitely a people person for sure. And you need to be a people person. Will, what about you?
The people, absolutely. And the fact that real estate, we look at it like a wheel. There's a million spokes in the wheel. It's all called real estate. And like you've mentioned, Rita, there's a million ways to make money in this business. So your license and your broker's license and any other licensing and education you get feed into that. And so for us, my license was a key for my retirement, for my relationships, for my own sanity, for so many different things. It has opened a myriad of possibilities for my family to be financially independent, for me to be independent, and for me to look at it kind of past buying, selling, buyers, sellers into this industry. And it's been an incredible opportunity.
So, Will, if you could go back in time, what advice would you give to your younger self?
Oof. That's a good question. For me, there was a lot of paralysis by analysis of like, I don't know what to do. What the heck, do I do in this situation? And I'd freak myself out. And what I had to learn to say was, I don't know, and I'll find out.
Hmm.
And I had a hard time saying, I don't know how to answer that question, or let me get back to you about that, or let me make sure I'm on the same page with my broker. So with me, it was being okay saying, I don't know, and I'm still the expert. And that's okay.
That's a great answer. And that answer means that new person won't get in trouble if they just say, hey, you know, let me make sure my broker agrees with me before I give you that answer. And well, there's one other thing I have to ask, and that is you've got this cute hat hanging on a hook back there. Do you wear that very often?
When I show
Ah,
ranch
look at
properties
that.
in the summer, definitely when we show ranch
I'm
properties.
sure we've had a half dozen students go, I wonder how he looks with that hat on right there. So, great personality. We so appreciate your wonderful information. And Nicole, what about you? What advice would you give to your younger self?
I would definitely agree with Will in the regards to not knowing things. Again, I was very young when I got into this, and so I didn't know a lot of things. I didn't know a lot of things about being a grown up when I got into this business, much less real estate. So just finding out the answer, I have no shame in saying, you know what, I'm really not sure, but I will find out and I will find a solution. So I think being solutions driven in this business is super important as well, because we're going to come up with a lot of or come up with a lot of obstacles that you have to get over and a lot of hurdles to close a deal, and you better get in there and fight for that deal or find a solution to make everybody happy, because that's a lot of times what we have to do, or at least the illusion that everybody's going to be happy. So
Mhm.
I would say never give up, cultivate those relationships, and stay in front of people all the time.
Those are great words of advice. Both of you have just been excellent, excellent interviewees today, friends and students of Champion School of Real Estate. You know, I always just get so full of pride when we have people on like yourselves, because it goes to show successful people, but we can all identify with you, and you're just so kind. So, one more time, Nicole Piccola with Compass Realty in Dallas and Will Wright with Indwell Real Estate Fort Worth. I'm so proud that you're a champion. You're a champion, and the information was so excellent today. I hope our students wrote everything down. Again, go to YouTube tomorrow. There are two or three other things I want to mention, and that is the first 2 years of our interviews are on these two books, Successful Tendencies of Real Estate Champions. $25 for both. You can go online or go in the front office and purchase them. We hope and believe in our next volume, we will have these two wonderful people in it, and you'll get their great words of wisdom. And then as well, some of the comments they made are in my 30 Days to Success that you can purchase. And it starts out with each day in business, what you can do to jumpstart your business. I highly recommend that. And next month, we have Renee Burchell. I bet Nicole knows Renee from the Frisco, Plano area, and she's with Caldwell Banker. She'll be one of our speakers along with Ziad Al-K Ali, and he is out of the Houston region, and they are going to talk about long-time success in the business, as well as different things you can do to create a team and your own niche in real estate. So that is on November the 19th. You won't want to miss that. Before I sign off, I want to thank our president, Kimberly Didelowitz, out of the Plano campus. And thank you for all that you do, Kim, in order to make sure that all of our speakers, all of our books, all of our media go out on time, as well as Carla Laraga. Carla takes care of our Facebook Live and our social media in that regard. Without social media, what would we do? So, and all of our managers, thank you. Our instructors are the best ever. So whether your career is real estate, loan appraisal, inspection, what these two specialists told you today works in every career when you are your own boss. And I say that with all sincerity. Inspectors, you're your own boss. You need to know how to generate business. The same for loan officers, appraisers, and of course, real estate. So thank you again for joining us today. Will, Nicole, you are definitely great champions, and we so admire what each of you do in your personal life as well as certainly your business life. See you next month. Thanks for your business.
Thank you.
Bye to everyone.
Thank
Thanks,
you so
Rita.
much.
Our pleasure.